Shalom, Apostle Tahar coming back at you once again, giving you this truth in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Excuse me. And I'm going to entitle this video, Who is the Serpent in Genesis chapter 3. There was a video that was put up that the brother from Mississippi, Kazak, one of the elders, the young elders out there, and I always confuse his name with Kazak and Karatazar. Anytime I say Kazak, I think of Karatazar, the word Karatazar. So I got to think before I say his name, and I hope his name is not Karatazar. I know it's Kazak. Anyway, somebody correct me. Anyway, he put up a video with the former head of GMS Dallas by the name of Amashabayala. That's a nice long name. Yeah, you got to watch guys with them long, elongated names. Just a joke. Anyway, he also is known as Element 7D. And I was thinking about this earlier, 7D, and I said, what does the 7D stand for? And the Spirit said the 7D stands for 7 demons. And he's definitely got demons on him, you know. And I remember years ago when we got together with them brothers, I went out there once. They came out here a bunch of times, and I really liked that brother, you know. Truth be told, I really liked that brother, and we became friends, you know. And through the years, you know, it was a buildup in that camp where he was suspended by my order, but I cast a lot. There was something that he did, or a series of things that he did, and I cast a lot as to whether he should be suspended or not, and a lot fell on him that he should be suspended. So this was the decision of the Most High. Had it fallen on a differently, you know, you got the coin that you toss up, which is the casting a lot, and casting a lot is not an evil thing; it's a righteous thing because you're leaving it in the hands of the Lord. But that's not something that you should just do every day. Just cast a lot on everything. You just keep casting a lot, you know, because you're tempting the Most High. But if you have a hard decision, well, I'll give you an example. Now, famous Nate of the IUIC made a statement. He said it was dealing with the whole Cornelius issue, and I said they couldn't see that Cornelius was an Israelite, and I said Cornelius is an Israelite, and then I said, well, why don't we cast a lot? And he jumped up and he said, no, you can't cast a lot because that's wicked. Well, ultimately, he now teaches that Cornelius is an Israelite, all right? Because I said, I'm going to leave it up to the Most High. I can see it clearly, but I'll leave it up to the Most High. If the Most High lets it fall against Cornelius being, well, I knew it was going to fall on Cornelius being an Israelite. So he didn't want to deal with that answer at that time because maybe it's the Lord and I don't know, we should cast a lot. No, once you cast a lot, that's it. That's why you should. It's very rare that you should cast a lot. Anyway, a situation, I'll go to it real quick, which we should know. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, this is Acts 1. And I got to start. Okay, I'll start at the 23rd verse. Acts 1:23. It says, and they appointed two, Joseph called Barsabbas, who was surnamed Justus, and Matthias. And they prayed and said, Thou, Lord Yahweh, which knoweth the hearts of all men, show whether of these two thou hast chosen. Because both of these men were diligent, and when you read a couple of verses up, which I'm not going to read, they were with the Lord from the very beginning, besides the 70. So altogether, the Lord had 84 disciples. There were 70 that the Lord sent out 2 by 2, and he made a statement. They got offended, and they went about their business. When the Lord said, eat my blood and drink my blood and eat my flesh, and they took it as him talking about cannibalism. It says that he may take part of this ministry because there had to be a replacement for Judas Iscariot. And apostleship, so he became the man that was chosen became an apostle. Now you got guys out there saying that Paul took the place of Judas Iscariot. That's a lie. Paul was not of the 12, but although he was an apostle, from which Judas by transgression fell, that he might go to his own place. And ultimately he killed him. He died. He died in his sins. And they gave forth their lots, and the lot fell upon Matthias, and he was numbered with the 11 apostles, so he became the 12th. Now let's look up the word lot.
Strong's G 2819. Kledos.
It means this, an object used in casting or drawing lots, which was either a pebble or a pot shed or a bit of wood. Like now we use a quarter. You want to cast a lot, you use a quarter. So that's what it meant. Now you know what I want to do? I want to go into it in the Old Testament, lot. Look up the word lot. Bear with me for a minute. The word lot comes up a bunch of times. I'm sorry. Just bear with me. I want to get a okay, I got okay. Proverbs 16 verse 33. The lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of the Lord. So when you go back to Acts, the first chapter, they left it when they cast a lot. They said we're going to leave it in the hands of our Lord. Proverbs 18 verse 18. The lot causes contention to cease and parteth between the mighty. Let me read that again. The lot causes contention to cease, So the Cornelius Council, which we call it, that was a contention. There were people that said, myself, Gabar, and the rest of those brothers, we saw that Cornelius was an Israelite, and the rest of the people at that council couldn't see it and said, "You going off by teaching that? That's a heresy." So I came up with the lot. I said, "Let's cast a lot." So why did I say cast a lot? Proverbs 18 verse 18. The lot causes contention to cease. So had they would have said, "Yeah, let's cast a lot." Now, had the lot landed on him being Edomite, I said, "Okay, no big deal. We were wrong." But we knew that the lot was going to cast on the side of Cornelius being an Israelite, which ultimately all those guys that was against it, they now teach that Cornelius is an Israelite. It says the lot causes contention to cease and parteth between the mighty. So now let's look up the word lot in the Hebrew. This goddamn computer's acting up. So the word lot is from the Hebrew gawaral, which simply means lot. Lot, pebble used to systematically making decisions. Portions, lot, portion. Thing assigned by casting lots. Recompense, retribution. Let me read that again. Lot, pebbles used for systematically making decisions. So that's what a lot is. Now the Spirit let me there, but now we're going to come back. And that was like a little mini lesson on the word lot. And to show you that the casting a lot is a righteous act. So now let's go to Genesis 3. I kind of segued into something else, but we're back into the subject. Now this is what Element 7D said in that video. He said that, let me just go to the verse. I'll start at 14. Genesis 3 verse 14. And Yahweh the Most High said unto the serpent, because thou, and by the way, this serpent represented a man. It wasn't an actual serpent that spoke. Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Now, snakes don't eat dust. They eat small creatures. They'll eat you if you're out there. They got big boa constrictors that will eat you, will eat a cow. But smaller snakes will eat mouse and smaller creatures. And it uses its cunning to catch those creatures. Anyway, it says, so it says, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. So we know it's not talking about an actual serpent, right? It says, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. So that's talking about, this goes into Esau, goes into Cain and Abel. This goes into Jacob and Esau. This goes into Israel and the Edomites. Now what Elements said that was talking about Yahushua fighting against a dragon, which you can say that, but ultimately the battle between good and evil is represented by Israel versus Esau. And Yahushua would be classified as the head of Israel. And then you have the head Edomite. But then you have Israelites behind Yahushua. So ultimately, this is talking about how we're going to eventually destroy this. We got destroyed by this man, put down, and we're on the bottom as it is this day. And we're going to be on top of them. So this whole story of enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Onto the woman goes into something else, having birth pains and being under the man. So now we're going to go further. There's a whole lot of scriptures that go into the serpent. Now, if you look up the word serpent, let's go to the word serpent. The word serpent is nakash, which means serpent, snake, serpent image, fleeing serpent, mythological. So that's H5172. This is H5170. I believe that was 75. When you go to the root of the word, you have the same word, nakash, which means to practice divination, divine. Snakes don't practice divinations. They don't play with Ouija boards. So this is talking about Esau before he knew he was Esau. And his power always came from the left-hand side, from the spiritual demon, from the head demon, the spiritual demon Satan. It says to practice divination, divine, to divine, observe signs. That's why you have your president when they are inaugurated. That goes back to the Roman Empire, when the Roman Caesars were inaugurated or became augurs, which make them sorcerers, that they can see things to come to pass. And that's what they say. They'll run on a campaign of, I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to make that happen. So it's like a vision that they give to the people, but at the end of their time ruling, the vision never comes to pass. It says to practice divination, divine, observe signs, learn by experience, diligently observe, practice fortune telling, take as an omen, to practice divination, to observe the signs or omens. Now Esau knows that he's going down. The elite among Esau knows that we are the Israelites. That's why they pay off guys like Vocab Malone. Now he's going to say, no, he ain't paid off. He's doing it on his own. And you have the media demonizing us. And to show you that this guy, which by the way, a perfect example of the serpent in the garden is this guy, Vocab Malone. Because anything that he's totally against what we're teaching. This demon, this serpent really believes he has the truth. He believes that he's defending the gospel, which he never did a video, as far as I'm concerned, me checking all his videos, He's never did a video on anything dealing with prophecy. He never did a video on the mark of the beast. He never did a video on Revelation the 18th chapter. He never did a video on Daniel the 7th chapter, Daniel the 2nd chapter, Daniel the 8th chapter, Daniel the 9th chapter, Daniel the 11th chapter, Daniel the 12th chapter. He never went into the book of the book of Ezekiel, excuse me. But yet he believes he has a gospel. And he has a lot of bird-brained Negroes following him. Because he's that same serpent. And I'm not saying Vocab is an actual serpent, but he could be. He actually could have been back there talking to Eve. Well, he's got his pet gorilla, what's her name? You know, he got her hooked, you know. And them jakes that follow him, they're gonna die right with him, with his Edomite ass. And he's an Edomite until he prove otherwise. So we found out that term, that word serpent that came to Eve, the woman, was not an actual serpent, that it was an actual man, because snakes don't observe, are not observers of time, of signs, or not involved in omens and signs and divination. It also goes on to say a primitive root probably to hiss, i.e. whisper, or music, spell. Spells get cast on people by music, man. You have this form of rap called gangster rap, where Jake just start killing themselves when they listen to that music. It goes on to say divine, enchanter, enchantment, learned by experience and deed. Diligently observe. Yeah, observe the left-hand side. Now it tells you in Isaiah, the 47th chapter, let's go to that. That the elite of Esau, the reason why they're on top, because they secretly worship these spirits. They consult with these demons. It says in Isaiah 47 verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, and we're going to find out what their wickedness is. It's the left-hand side of the power. Thou hast said, none seeth me. The Illuminati. They do things in secret. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. And mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. 12th verse. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, from the very beginning. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. 13th verse. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. All their counsel is wicked. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things what shall come upon thee. And then it's not going to work. So now that we got that, let's go to Revelation 20. And a lot of precepts came up with this subject, but I'm going to the ones the key scriptures. Now this is Revelation 20 verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, and he laid hold on the dragon. Who's the dragon? Well, you go back to the Roman Empire. That's the dragon, or it's also known as the beast. But you have the current beast, which is NATO and the EU and America, which is nothing but the Roman Empire coming back all over again. Edomites ruling over the dark nations. That old serpent, it said the old serpent, because that serpent goes back to the beginning. Let me look up the word dragon. So another name for the serpent is also the dragon. It's talking about Esau. And Esau's influence came from the spiritual demon Satan. Satan worked with Esau to beguile a woman. I'm going to click on the word dragon. And the word is from the Greek drakon. That's where you get the term draconian. A dragon, a great serpent, a name for Satan. So another name for the serpent is Satan. It says, second verse, Revelation 20 verse 2. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So what is that talking about? We should all know that's talking about when Esau was taken down, when Constantine the Great came into power, and that rulership from the line of the Constantines, his son and his sons. You had Justinian, you had all these different. Yeah, I mean, you can read the list. You can go to the list of Constantine and his and the people that ruled after him for 1,000 years, and it was a 1,000-year period. Then Esau came back into power. So that's what we're reading about. It says, he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And Esau didn't have any power for 1,000 years. He was on the bottom. That's why you have a thing called the Dark Ages. That's why you have a thing called the Renaissance, because they had to do the best that they can to destroy all of the images of Israelites, dark-skinned people. And they couldn't. There were so many images that they couldn't even destroy them all. It says, and cast him, third verse, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a spiritual seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more. So what did Esau do when he came out of the caves and Christopher Columbus? And I always go into this story. During the time of Christopher Columbus discovering the New World, there was 100 years in that they were destroying images through a thing called iconoclasm, however you want to pronounce it, and they were putting images up of themselves. Anytime you go to Google and you put in Renaissance art, they're all Edomites. No so-called black people, all Edomites. And when you check out the dates of these different pieces of art, you see that it's after late 1300s, 1400s, 1500s, 1600s. Because prior to that, all the icons of Israelites being dark skin and brown skin, that was prior to during the time of the 1200s, the 1100s, the 1000s, because we were ruling, and we all know this. Anyway, it says, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more. What Esau did was deceive the nation. The beast, the serpent, did was deceive, just like he deceived deceived Eve. He deceived the world by this damn democracy, man. Let me look up the word deceive. The word deceive is platnao, which means to cause the stray, to lead astray, lead us aside from the right way. And that's what Esau does. Esau, you can be a man can lay with another man. A man, well, a presidential Democratic candidate, what's his name? Pete Buttigieg, however you say his name. He brags about how he's got a husband. He actually married another Edomite man because it's accepted in this society. You know, two men can walk down the street, and we see it all the time. Hell, we saw it Saturday at the speaking. And you had police officers out there, and they saw faggots walking by and didn't do nothing. When the Lord says to put him to death, that's why this motherfucker gonna go. When I say this motherfucker gonna go, America's gonna go by way of fire. It says here in 2 Peter, Second Peter 2, and 5, and spare not the old world, but save Noah the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. So Esau is the ungodly. They don't believe in the Most High. Let's go back to Vocab Malone. He believes in a God, but he believes his God is so-called white, which that would mean he's left. If this clown ever actually read the scriptures and actually watched our videos, he would understand that to be white is to have a skin disease known as leprosy. And that was a punishment from the Most High. And I see why Obadiah 1 verse 18 has to be fulfilled. Because these people are no good. Bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly. So if the Most High took the world out by a flood, and then took out Sodom and Gomorrah by fire from heaven, what do you think he's going to do to this place? With your lesbianism, with your homosexuality, with your bestiality, with your sex change operations. What do you think the Most High is going to do? He's going to destroy that place. And going back to Vocab Malone, he has nothing negative to say about homosexuals. Now he might say, no, you're wrong. I did a video on it. I mentioned it once 5 years ago. Or he might have mentioned it 3 weeks ago, but he'll never mention it again for another 10 years. Because he has no problem with sodomites. You know, he has no problem with these type of people. It says, and delivered just like, I'm laughing because something happened when we read the scripture, a flaming Ephraimite, dressed like, you can clearly see the guy was a dude, dressed up like a woman wearing a rainbow-colored miniskirt. So we were reading the scripture right when he came by, and Apostle Ryan Lob saw him and kind of turned his head, and he kind of looked, what are you looking at? And I looked, I turned my head, you know, and we were vexed. It says, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. Eighth verse, for that righteous man dwelling among them is seeing and hearing vex his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. So when the serpent came to Eve in the form of a man, he basically said it's all right to do this, it's all right to do that, and you're gonna live forever. Oh, and the Most High is lying to you, and she's the weaker of the two between the man and the woman. So he came and deceived her ass, Anyway, let's go. And you brothers that have been in this thing for a number of years, you know all these scriptures by heart. As I'm reading them, you're mouthing the scripture as I read along, because you know this. We go through this over and over and over and over again. And most of the scriptures, if you notice myself, I'd go into a lot of prophetic scriptures, because we're in that time where these prophecies being fulfilled. It says, third verse, Revelation 20, verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and the bottomless pit represent Europe, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loose a little season. So when he's loose a little season, what is he going to do? He's going to deceive the nation once again. And that happened from the time of Cristobal Colon coming over here, and the first thing that they did was they said you have to accept Christianity, and if you didn't accept it, they would kill you. And they said the justification of them taking these people down, which are Israelites, was the fact that they were not Christians. And that's their form of Christian, which is Roman Catholicism, which this clown vocab says he's not a Roman Catholic. You're damn right you a Roman Catholic, man. And then he called the knucklehead from Detroit that you practice Catholic doctrine. Well, idiot. Who set up the Roman Catholic Church in the first place? It was Jake. It was during the time of that came out of the Byzantine Empire. So it was Israelites that set up the Christian kingdom on earth. Which when Esau came on the scene, he now calls it Roman Catholicism. And Catholicism just means it means universal. It means a universal religion, a world religion. Fourth verse. I saw thrones and they that sat upon them. That goes into something else that goes into us receiving them. The crowns. So now when you look up this word, going back to the second verse, Revelation 20, verse 2, and he laid hold on the dragon. We look up the word dragon, the old serpent. We look up the word serpent. Matter of fact, let me go click on the word serpent. Serpent. The word serpent is ophes, which means snake, serpent. With the ancient, the serpent was an emblem of cunning and wisdom. The serpent who deceived Eve was regarded by the Jews as the devil. So who's the devil? The spiritual demon Satan counterpart, which is Esau. It says he called him the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil. So the word devil is from the word diabolos, which means prone to slander. He's a false accuser. It says in Revelation 12, the devil shall come down having great wrath, for he knoweth that he had but a short time. Slanderous, accusing falsely, a calumniator, false accuser, slanderer, applied to a man who, by opposing the cause of the Most High, that's Esau, may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. So the devil is a physical person on the earth, which is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. Isaiah 14, is this the man, Lucifer, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? That's Esau. Then it goes on to say, and Satan. Like I said, we know this. You brothers have been in this thing for 10, 11, 12 years. You already know this. These lessons that we teach is pretty much for somewhat newer brothers. Guys have been in this thing for maybe a couple of years. Now, Satan means adversary, one who opposes another in purpose or act. The name given to the prince of the evil spirits, right? That's a spiritual demon. The inveterate adversary of the Most High and Yahweh Shai, which makes him Antichrist or antitypes. He incites apostasy from the Most High and to sin. Let's look up the word apostasy. Okay, let me go to Google. Okay, there we go. Apostasy. The abandonment or renunciation of a religious or political belief. And that's what Esau is. He's contrary to the truth. So that's the definition of Satan. From the Most High to sin. Because they allow you to sin. They put, make commercials, Burger King commercials, McDonald's, and they have pork in it. They'll mostly always have a Jake eating pork, showing you how much they love bacon. Circumventing men by his wiles, his demonic, evil, wicked wiles. The worshippers of idols are said to be under his control. By his demons, he is able to take possession of men and inflict them with diseases. That's a whole different subject, man. That's why you have a WHO, the World Health Organization, and then under the World Health Organization in America, you have the Center for Disease and the Center for Disease. Control and Prevention. The CDC, Center for Disease. Matter of fact, let me look it up. I don't want to get the acronym wrong. CDC. Right, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which they're under the authority of WHO, which is the World Health Organization. And what they do is they have on ice, they have these different diseases. They said that the Black Death, the bubonic plague was done away with. No, they got it in the refrigerator some goddamn where. And they're letting it out to people. And that Ebola virus is out of control. So this is beautiful, man. And one of the definitions of Satan is by his demons, He is able to take possession of men and inflict them with diseases. Remember the syphilis experiment at Tuskegee, the Tuskegee experiment? They even had a movie on that, man, where they took Jake and they injected him with syphilis to see how long it would take him to die, or how would they react. So that's what Satan does. By the Most High's assistance, he is overcome. On Yahweh's return from heaven, he will be bound with chains for 1,000. No. Blue Letter got it wrong. Sometimes they get it wrong. That already happened. But when 1,000 years are finished, he will walk the earth in yet greater power. So that means we're going to be in the kingdom, and Satan's going to pop back out and get us again. But shortly after, we'll be given over to eternal punishment, or a Satan-like man. Yeah, Esau don't know, man. Daniel 12:10. Esau don't know. He tries to know, but he doesn't know. Anyway, with that, the reason why I wanted to do this video was basically this guy, Element 7D. The 7D stands for 7 demons. In Matthew, the 12th chapter, around about the 40-some odd verse, 7 demons shall take hold of thee. And the reason why we say that is because with all that stuff happening, and he took off about 5 or 6 years, and now he's popped up on the scene, and he's trying to tell us what the scriptures really mean. Dude, the Most High's not dealing with you, man. The Most High's not dealing with you. And then we got all these former GMS guys popping up, calling us wicked and evil. And they'll say, GMS? Well, wait a minute. How about IUIC? Are they righteous? How about ISUPK? How about HODC? How about AOC? Are they righteous or are they wicked? You know? Because you got that other guy from the South that newly put some tattoos on his ass, on his arms. That man's got demons popping off him like popcorn. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say Shalom. Like I said, we do these spirits on us to do these videos. Like I said, you men have been in this thing for 10 plus years. You should know all these scriptures by heart, which you do. But you got a lot of brothers out there that don't know. And we know by the comment board that when they ask a certain question, and to them it's like, what does this really mean? And that's a simple answer, but they don't know. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. On to the next one.